All right, CBGM, this is the NBGM mock draft, the NBA synced up players from our league being imported to play in their own universe, an observation league where we do not participate whatsoever in the GMing or decisions of this league, and it's all AI, and we get to just watch that play out. What we are is college basketball general manager. Who I am is Chris. I coordinate the website. We GM games. We post a catalog and inventory of games of this type. So be able to definitely check out gmgames.org if you're just tuning into this one. At the moment, I'm just going to put a broadcast out so that more people will come around and know that we have gone live now on Twitch with this draft. So let's just pretty much do that to our traditional outlets. In this case, this is a Pro Basketball 23 representation. So we're going to broadcast more to Pro Basketball sections of the Wolverine Studios Discord and Slack channel. And we'll be getting started pretty soon. Their Discord's getting pretty big. I definitely encourage them to go in that direction, and now we're seeing an evolution of that. Okay. All right. So next up, let's take a look at what's on the display. So this is this draft. So Joshua Hudson, backstory with this kid from Maryland, got hurt for almost the whole season. And, oh, what's up, Breeze? Welcome to the chat. Got hurt for the whole season and just really was not able to show what he could do at Maryland a lot. But when he did play, he was the top scorer. So definitely someone to look for in the pros. After that, we have Daniel Creighton, who won a championship. So this guy is coming in with a great rookie class. 6'10", 271. What are comparables? Maybe, when Michigan and Chris Webber went as far as they did. Maybe another comparable might be, he's a bit big to be Carmelo. Does play center. He might have some range, though. He has good jump shot. So Creighton is really good. Charles Young is a really good player out of Baylor. And then we got another Maryland player projected in the top 5. This Patricio Romano looks like from Argentina, someone who the game is brought in from importing international. So this is not a college player, I don't believe. But let's go through quickly the top point guards. We got Missouri's Aaron Chambers at the top of the list. Henry Evans, he had a run to the finals this year. Arizona's in there with Brian Smith, so that's shout out to Sean, one of his players. Mark Windland, that's the name of the guy in our league. Brad Tyler, superstar, big finals, big champ. He's in this draft. See him at the shooting guard position. This looks like a G League player, Cantrell Thompson. And then as we move through, you got Lawrence Smith from Maryland as well, Brian Smith from Louisville. A lot of Smiths. And that's why I did change the frequency of the names. Klein, who won his championship as well, trying to get paid going pro now. So Joe McPherson, big-time stud, went to the finals with SDSU, so he's in that picture for one of the top players. And then at center, Creighton, of course, Wesby, and then a couple of my guys at the bottom. So Rotem Bash out of Wichita State. He's originally, I think, from Israel. And then Terrence Martin, center from Miami. And he had a 4-year season there. So he's a little bit on the old side at 22. Well, let's get to the draft. Whoever's wanting to watch and see where their players might go. Last year, Jamie Stewart was a big player from UConn, ended up going number 2 to the Raptors. He got hurt for a good portion of the year, so didn't get a chance to see his skills, but you can see his ratings are gradually going up. So here's the montage. Villanova. Some logos don't come through, so that's odd. Baylor. I think Vincent's from St. Mary's. Wesby. And Kev, thanks for subscribing. Appreciate that. Especially CBGM News, the .news domain referrals, like 40 American a year or something stupid like that. Okay, so Daniel Creighton, Nolan Smith. Okay, so let's get this thing popping. Montage still going. I don't want to press escape just yet on that. Let more people come into the chat. I think number one pick is Chicago away of Charlotte. The logo's there, but maybe didn't show the trade yet. But we have arrived at the season 35 draft. So let's have a look. I'm wondering if this is actually meant to be the season 36 draft, though. Let me see on the website. Should I be bumping this to 36? Yes. So, can I actually change that on the fly? Change the stream title. Let me see. I think I can do it with another account I have. Sorry, apologies. We'll get started really shortly here. This is actually the season 36 draft. So I do have to change that. We're into a new season on our side. Okay, let's go to video producer. All right, let's kick off starting the draft anyway. And then you can see the commentators making their comments. All right. Okay, so the Bulls are up. They're on the clock. It's ticking now. They're saying Joshua Hudson's almost a lock. Been drooling over him all season. Is the call here from Woj type looking dude, young one. So we'll have the first pick in a second. I just want to update the title here. Done. And also reference points. Okay. So the clock is ticking still on this pick. Putting up one more update for Twitter that we're live as well. And we can get going. S36. Okay. Clock is ticking down. We're going to have the first pick in a second, then we're going to roll through this. Hudson's up. The pick is already gone, so they didn't want to use the whole 5 minutes, and off they go. So Hudson is off the board. Next projected, probably Daniel Creighton, maybe Brad Tyler. That's the projection that I would say at the moment. And we'll get clicking through picks here real shortly. I've now updated my reference links to us going live. And we're good. Okay, so this has got to be probably Creighton here to the clip. That's the mock draft is already saying that anyway. So, all right, let's make this pick. Next CPU pick. And it's Creighton, no surprise. So the champ from Florida, 20-12, 3 blocks a game. Big time player, champion as well for Bubba Jr. He has now gone second overall in the draft. And next up we have the Charlotte Hornets. And now not really sure who they might go with. Brad Tyler would be a good pick. Maybe Joe McPherson. Let's see who they go for. They go for the Argentinian. There's been a deal. And Darius Bauer, I think he actually went to Florida as well. Kobe White, swap this year's first. Detroit, moving it around. Maybe it's this pick, maybe not. I don't know. But it's the international import, Patricio Romano. Don't know anything about him because the game has created this international player. So he's now joining the universe with its CBGM talent. All right, and everyone's saying that was a good pick at that spot. So next up, we got Dallas. Luka's retired now. Well, Luka's not retired. He's on the Sixers, and he's 36 years old. He's going to retire. Lawrence Smith, Maryland. So one more player from that team, like almost as stacked as Florida. Didn't show off what they had because Hudson got hurt. But Maryland has 2 players going in the top 5. Not even Florida has that right now. So we'll see if Brad Tyler is going to be in this top 5. And we have a spammer. So how do I get rid of that? A bot is in the chat. That is right. Okay, so Magic up. Oh, they took Smith. I gotta go to a different window to get rid of spammers. How do I moderate on that? Bans. I don't know how to ban. Restrict. I don't know, man. I'm not a good moderator. Okay. We're still in this draft. Let's focus on the draft. So we got Magic at number 5. Clock's ticking down. This is going to show. Is it going to be Brad Tyler? No, it's Deshaun Marquard. How do you pronounce that? Marquard, but Arkansas had a really good player. Yeah, Coffee, you got a couple guys there like that. Banned, there it is. Banned. It's the icon with the strike through. Okay. All right. Heat 6th. Who are they going to take now? I would take Brad Tyler or Joe McPherson. There's Brad Tyler. So he is the final for MVP. So as good as Creighton is, Brad Tyler carried Florida and Bubba in this situation. So big time player for the Heat. Going to Miami. Brad Tyler stays in Florida. Good backstory to that. And we're up with the Lakers at the 7th pick. They're going to go with Cantrell Thompson. Quick deal on the side. That is a G League player. So one of the best G League players is going to Lake. Cantrell Thompson there. And we're up next with the Pistons at the number 8 spot. The Pistons, Joe McPherson's still out there. Now we're not really sure where the draft might go, but there are some good names that we know. Joe Silva, Baylor. You can't go wrong with any of the Baylor prospects. They seem to always do quite well. So Baylor's usually scooping a couple of guys in that top area. You can't really count them out. Okay. Warriors are up, number 9. They're projecting maybe someone from Texas Tech, but I doubt that. Next pick, Justin Klein, Florida. 3 players in the top 10, maybe not 2 in the top 5. And I think we might be on an ad break soon, so I better. But Justin Klein is the 3rd Florida player to be taken in the top 10 of the draft. And next up, the Grizz at number 10. The 10 pick, the Grizz is going to go to Dante Wesby. So gets a player here. Does it say Billy Donovan? He might be, I don't know if he's the coach, but he may have moved into a GM spot. But if you read any of the quotes, it usually gives a hint at who the GM is. And interestingly, I hope one day some CBGMer, the first one, will retire. I think we're getting close to some of the first CBGM players retiring. That is likely to be like Andy Morris from the original year of Florida, who became really good with the Knicks for a long time here. So, all right, Suns are up 11 pick. Russell Robinson, Michigan State. Mich State used to be a powerhouse, even an AI powerhouse, but they've kind of had too much comp for recruits and kind of have dropped off with no human in charge of them as well. And now we're up to number 12 with Boston and the Celts. And the Celtics take. There he goes. He's a Celt. Joe McPherson, who carried San Diego State to a final. Well, with Henry Evans, but a couple other good guys. But TV Guy D here, his player is going to be a Boston Celtic. If he's running San Diego State, he may be a West Coast guy and may not enjoy his star being on the East Coast, but he's a Celtic. So, moving along in this draft, Utah at 13. They're going to take Nate Shelton out of North Carolina. So that's Nick the Nuts from the league. He's got a player drafted here in the number 12 position, or 13 position, sorry. And next up, it's the Spurs. Their front court's just ridiculous. Khalid Jones from Kentucky with BJ Anderson, G League superstar. And their pick is going to be a little side deals going on. Bishop Simpkins. So UConn. Kev's in the chat. Bishop Simpkins will be joining the Spurs. Look at those stats. Didn't get a lot of run. Didn't get a lot of love. But drafted this early as a project, I guess. But we're moving on to the 15th pick for the Bucks. Still in the lottery in the first round. And they will be, it's Brian Smith from Louisville, their best player, getting drafted, going to the Bucks. Classic, no doubt. They do come around though. So the legend of Sam Moiso's actually becoming good. So these 5 stars from college actually, they start getting some potential. So let's move on to the next pick. Pacers, 16, Dan James, Nova. So that's a selection for, testing my memory here, Just a Sample. Just a Sample runs Villanova. 15 a game. Here comes the Raps, my IRL team. The team I'm cheering for in this as well. So I'm glad. Who's going to join Jamie Stewart on this team? And Orville Swartz from UCLA. It will be Henry Evans. So they need a point guard, I believe. But Henry Evans is going to team up with Jamie Stewart on the Toronto Raptors. So another guy for TV Guy D there. We're up to the 18th pick. At 18, the Cavs take Baylor's Charles Young. Very good player. I thought he was going to go before Joe Silva, but here he goes at this slot. Number 18 position. And up after that, we got probably the Pels. Well, no, we have the Pels. 19, Jamal Jefferson, Texas. Here's a guy for Grant 5. So there you go, Grant. If you're anywhere around, you have a draft pick in the top 20. Now at the number 20 position, we got Tony Hoyer. Some deals going around. Irrelevant players. But Duke, DWK. A Duke player in the first round, number 20, DWK, has Tony Hoyer going to the Wolves. And next up for the Thunder at OKC, there we go. Texas Tech. But this is the last memory, I guess, of, I think it's Bill. If it's not, no, it's Ron. I think Rofar. This is the last memory he'll have at Texas Tech. One of his players is going in the first round before he goes to Xavier. And Portland's up next, 22. Mark Windland, second VCU player taken. I think Wesby went earlier. So now we have Mark Windland and Wesby, drafted by Virginia Commonwealth. Drafted from Virginia Commonwealth. All right, next up, now getting through this first round here, Andrew Dotson. So 2 Michigan State players in the first round. Going to the Nuggets. Nuggets have a storied tradition in the NBGM. Have won a lot of games, a few rings to show for it. They have JoJo Crowell, one of the biggest names to ever come out of CBGM and Syracuse on their team. Not taking the league over by storm, but probably one of the best lockdown defenders in the entire league, even though he's a big-time college scorer. And next up, Houston, pick 24, Brian Smith. So Sean has his first draft pick. Sean seeing his guy, Brian Smith from Zona, end up in Houston in the first round. And next up after that with the Wiz, we're going to see Jason Smith. So Spider, one of his guys getting taken here by Purdue. From Purdue to the Wiz, who've had incredible runs as of late, 60-win seasons. They have the MVP, Mike Jacobson, who is from Kansas, very, very early in our seasons. And he's becoming a solid vet. Okay, the Lakers are up another first-round pick for them. And a G League player, so they're going to take an experiment here with Devontae Dukes. And we're almost at the end of the first round. Next up after that, D. Lansley, Maryland again. So not as effective a player in terms of stats. Looks like a pretty good backup point guard though. That's off the bench to get 5 assists. That's pretty crazy. But late first, someone wants to go with Maryland's players. So Hornets, 28th. We got another G League player out of Jeremy Spears. And what's up after that? We have 2 more picks in the first round. Magic are up. Another first-round pick. Mane Ibanez out of West Virginia. So Jay Lass just really ghosted the league. Had to drop his team because I was not going to babysit them anymore. But he's got one of his players getting drafted. The last legacy of Jay Lass Sandal or whatever. All right, last pick of the first round. Kings are up. Amazing team. They lost in the finals, but to the Magic, but they should not have. I mean, no, they could have. They would have if McKee played for the Magic. Sorry, but Hollis Tanella, St. Mary, staying in the West Coast. So sticking west. Hollis Tanella from St. Mary's to one of the best teams, the Sacramento Kings these days. All right, and next up, the Bulls again. And there's a Dame player. That's what Agalia was looking out for. John Sullivan is the first pick of the second round. 14.5 points a game, 8 boards, going to Chicago, the rebuild. And Wizard up again, a good team time. Another experiment from the G League. Kevin Boyce, picking them over our CBGM players, which kind of breaks my heart. Bulls, 33. They're going to take Ryan Kadri. So there you go. Kadri, UConn. Kev's here somewhat in the chat. So UConn gets another player drafted. His guy, Ryan Kadri. Don't know if he was on the team with Jamie Stewart that year or not. I can't remember. But another draft pick for Kev. And after that, we have another Bulls pick back to back. So they're going to go Rotem Bash. I have a draft pick. So, yeah, I don't know. This guy's like a 4-star international. I just took a risk. I needed a center. Had a pretty good career, though. So his final season, double-double guy. Grooming Ryan Lyde, who does not look very good. I'm not happy about that at the moment. So next up, we have for the Wizards, Greg Martin out of Oklahoma. So unfortunately, Wilford, this guy was from Creighton, Winfield Menard transfer. Anyways, Dave Sparkon, who had to drop out of the league. Here's a draft pick from one of his teams, Greg Martin. And next up, Charlotte, Doc Evans. So Zubnik's getting a guy here. Doc Evans gets selected in the second round out of Kansas. And next we go, Pace, 37, Shea Lane out of FSU. So just a sample. Look at these stats. Great center. Very underrated. Great second round pick. What a college season. 22 a game. 12 boards basically. Just a 0.1 away from hitting that 22 and 12. It's Daniel Creighton type numbers in a good conference too, ACC conference. So Shea Lane, look out. Great second round pick there. What else we got? There you go. Kev is back in it. Stan Bullock out of Gonzaga, one of the most famous international players we've ever had, big three-point shooter. Dave Brown out of Gonzaga, interesting trade. But it's Ratislav Gustieva who's getting drafted from Mini. So second round pick for Kev BK. It's going to Golden State. Okay, next up for the Lakers, they're going to take Jermaine Eaton out of Baylor. And we're getting through that second round here. We have about 20 picks to go. We're moving fast now. Suns, another guy for Chuck, Barry Vinson, getting drafted. He's a good player, like 16 a game. I think I was trying to recruit him at one stage with Arizona State, and that didn't work out. And the Knicks are up. They're always pretty loud at the draft. Their fans, what do they want to take? They go G League experiment. I feel like there should be some boos after this. Al Hawkins going with the chance of potential. What's his strength? Free throws, great. Weakness, shooting, streaky. All right, Lakers are up again at 42. Mike Jessie, the second player drafted for Sean out of Arizona. Looks like someone who should be West Coast Lakers, some surfer dude, blonde hair, 7 and 7 he averaged. Well, anyways, so we'll do well on media day for the Lakers. All right, Mike Jessie, he goes to the Lake. Jazz are up. TJ Anion, Florida, so a guy with a ring, 10 a game, center contributor, probably should have been drafted earlier as well, but Anion and Creighton that front court back to back, joining Brad Tyler, that championship team. It was going to be hard to beat them, and they pulled it off. So last pick was UConn. Simpkins going to Spurs, and the Spurs will go with Tom Colton. Texas A&M was ran by Graham at one point, but another guy who just basically ghosted. And Bucks are up, 45th pick. Alex Houston, Maryland. Small trade to report. Alex Houston, Maryland. So another player. This guy looks like Wally Zerbiak with blonde hair. But Alex Houston, Maryland, another draft pick. Okay, next up. Pace again. They're going to take Hai Dong Ho. Florida again. But the thing is, I have a backstory to this guy. Transferred out of Wichita State. Was super bitter at power forward. Hated his teammates. But he came off the bench. Played big minutes when Creighton had fouls. And Hai Dong Ho out of China, 4-star recruit, is taken by the Pacers. So his career moves on. And Raps will go with some guy from Spiders. So I'll take it. Aaron Chambers, back-to-back. I think he was rated as the top point guard in that mock. I mean, not mock, but positional ranking screenshots magazine. And Henry Evans and Chambers will battle for the job. They can be the full backcourt for, if they work it out well. Cavs are up next. Chris Groves out of Oregon. So a pick for Sparrow. Sparrow's first pick, Sparrow number 2. He's got his first guy, Chris Groves, second round draft pick. Officially the first for Sparrow. All right, next up, Pacers again. Just stockpiling second rounders. Larry Heward. So this is Carter DeGoat. Carter DeGoat. He gets Larry Heward drafted in the second round out of Wash. And working our way down the draft. We're almost done soon. 10 to go. Mike Williams, Mississippi State. So Big Ev, Mississippi State with still the greatest championship season we've ever seen in CBGM. The most storied run. Knocking off Creighton in the Final Four in an OT thriller. Tied the game last second. Won the game in OT. Then beat, I think it was Agalia and Notre Dame of all teams in the final. Just crazy run, Miss State. All right, next up. Trey Simpson, Jacksonville. So Chuck's getting guys drafted with the Jags. Well, they're not the Jags. I don't know what the hell this team is. But from Jacksonville, Florida, Trey Simpson. Only 5 a game, but must be a decent recruit. I don't know what's going on with that. All right. And the Blaze take Oregon State. So Blazer Taz gets a guy drafted here. Henry Phillips. In the second round, Blazer Taz, congratulations on that draft pick. I feel like this is like bingo. What's up next? D253, D Denver, JP Smallwood, Villanova. So just a sample. Another draft pick. And we're almost done, almost returning back to our lives. Who's going to be Mr. Irrelevant? Who's still going to get drafted? Who's going to get their name called out? Pistons 54, Levon Jackson, Sean. Yeah, well, just a sample is the guy's name. So, no, the guy's name in our league. If you go look at CBGM on GM Games Discord, he's just capital A and then the word sample after that. So, you can ask him why his name is what it is, but That's what it is. So Sean had another pick. Jackson 55, whiz up. Thomas Fogler. So if Kev, you're still in the chat, one more player from the Yukon Huskies drafted here in the second round. And Ago's here. Ago, who did you have that came up for a sec? Oh no, I just dropped a Sam Moiso reference, the 5-star players who might turn into to be decent players one day in pro. I don't think you have anybody drafted, to be fair. All right, next up, Omar Williams of Pitt. So Pitt is the new story for Big Ev. Swapping out Providence. Pitt is now one of his players, one of his teams, 1 point a game forward, drafted. And next up, the Bulls, 4 picks left. Quinn Tennell. Is it Quan? I don't even know. Keen. But the Cougars, and that's Nick the Nuts. Nick the Nuts is another. He's got UNC and Houston, I believe. Okay, 3 to go. Pelicans, Magic, Lakers. And we got Dexter Wilkins. So Sparrow has his second draft pick. Oregon has some decent recruits in a bit of a transition right now. It'll be a very interesting recruiting session this season to see how things play out. 2 picks to go. Magic, Alexis Revellino. So I don't know, the internationals, the only 2 are from Argentina, but no other countries represented. But Argentina has 2 direct draft picks from that international pipeline. I've never really seen internationals get drafted. I'm very surprised that there was even one in the top 5. Okay, last pick, Lakers, Michigan, Dave Galindo, Brandon Lopez. That is the last draft pick, 13 a game. So if your guy was anyone who's not been called out, look at that ticker at the bottom. I'll post a summary on the CBGM website. But thanks to everybody for coming out. Enjoy your Saturday night. And we'll see you next time for the recruiting bonanza. And that'll be a couple of weeks away. So everyone, take care. Take it easy.